did you come up with this? And have you ever been in a road rage accident or anything? What sparked something like this?
Yeah, it was actually a real-life road rage incident that was the loose inspiration for this. It involved a white SUV as well. It was a BMW though, not a Benz. And I was at the light. It was red, and I didn't go fast enough when it turned green, and so it started honking at me and pulled up next to me, cursed at me, all that stuff. And then, for some reason, on this day, I wasn't having a bad day, but I was like, I'm gonna follow you. I just, in my head, I justified it like, I'm just commuting home and I happen to be very, very close to this man, and if he goes a different direction, I'll stop following him. But we happened to be going the entirety of the 10 together, and he exited my exit, so fate would have it that, he probably thought I was just this lunatic that was following him through all of LA. That made me laugh, and so that was the kernel of the idea.
So road rage pays off here.
Very, thank you, whoever. Yeah. Whoever did that, thank you so much.
That's amazing. Are you one of those guys that lead police on chases on the freeways?
I mean, not yet.
It's amazing. Welcome to LA, folks. This is a really extraordinary show because even though I'm having fun talking about the road rage aspect, that's just a small aspect of it. It really leads to darker places, to more psychological explorations of these characters and their lives and how unhappy they are in many different ways and how much alike they are in many different ways. I'm going to show you what sparks it here from the very first episode of Beef. Let's take a look. You can see they can relate here. They can relate to if ever there was a show for these times, it seems like this one is it. All on edge the whole time. All 10 episodes here. All kinds of twists and turns. And is this for this time? This idea? It seems very pertinent to me, the world we're living in.
I think, we were writing from a true place, the writer's room. We were just kind of observing and, a lot of introspection of how we're feeling. And, it definitely wasn't intentional. Like, we weren't trying to be like, top down looking at society and saying like, hey, we have to talk about these issues, but we're just, observing ourselves and our interactions and people we know, and I think all of us there's a lot of things going on. We're angry one second, we're deeply sad the next. We're all very complicated beings, and so try to reflect that in the show.
It's a divided society we live in right now. There's one side against the other side, and this just puts it on a very human level between these two people, Stephen. I'm wondering, and by the way, they're both also executive producers of the show too. So, yeah. So you have a lot invested in this.
Yeah, I think what Sunny was saying, like the thing that really attracted me to the story we were telling is just kind of like looking into all of our shared brokenness, and it looks like the ways in which we're most in common are sometimes the things that look the ugliest about us, and it was really cool to explore that.
Yeah. What about Danny? How do you get in that? It's completely different than anything else I've seen you do. You are a chameleon. I don't think I'm watching Stephen Yeun at all. The minute I started watching, and I told you, I watched 7 of these episodes back to back on Easter. That's how I spent Easter. Yeah, I was fucked up. Yeah. Anyway, creating Danny, completely different. What did you base it on? What kind of work did you do to create this role?
Well, Danny, we're like I was saying earlier, he's an exploration for me into kind of a shameful existence, parts of ourselves that we don't really like to show or lead with or inhabit. And in creating Danny, we had a lot of conversation between all of us, and Sunny and I together too, and just we would pick pieces of like ourselves or people we know or things we've observed, and when it came to the performance, it was really about never abandoning this character, not leaving him in judgment or shame, but really just trying to embrace that part of him and play that part of him in truth, which was gnarly. But coming out of it, it was really cool because it then kind of leaves you in a compassionate place too. It's interesting.
And what about working with Allie here?
Oh, the best. Oh, the best. I truly like the energy, the friendship, the presence, the power, kind of the grace. All of that was just so. We had a great time. And every time we came together, I said it one time, but I thought it every time, which was like we'd finish a scene and I'd be like, ooh, that's spicy. And, it was really
actually do a shimmy like this, you go, ooh, that's spicy.
We had a really good time, and like there was a lot of good chemistry, and she's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, Allie, why did you think this was right for you to dive into this kind of a show with your career? We all know your comedy, we all know your background, but this is different.
Well, it was mostly just because of Sunny and Steven, and I just wanted to work with them so badly because I knew Sunny as being such a talented TV writer and such a good person. And then with Steven, we had worked on Two Good and Birdie together, but we were never in the same booth or anything, so I always just, for me, it's about like who you collaborate with, that comes first, and then the story was like, honestly kind of secondary, but then when I heard it, I was like, oh yes, I have to do this. And it was funny because when all my friends heard about the project and who I was cast with, they were all very concerned that I was going to fall in love with Steven. None of his friends were concerned. But we had like the best time together, and that's really what it's about. I mean, like even when I watch that clip, we were laughing, and I was thinking about how when they yelled cut, we were like laughing so hard and full of adrenaline we couldn't breathe. And from this show, like I look at that and I'm like, my God, I look at myself and I'm like, who is that person? Like it's so surreal, and it's so fun to, I'm 40 years old, and I'm an Asian woman who's probably gonna live until I'm like 105 since I take care of myself. So it's like life is so interesting, and it's so nice to have like surprise myself in this, and that's really and I do really connect to the character in a lot of different ways, and I connect to Danny just as much as I connect to Amy, and I always have.
Yeah. This whole cast is amazing, and largely the cast and crew, members of the AAPI community, and but this is not specific totally to that. This could be anything, and it's an example of casting that's super smart and relatable and universal, and shows it can be done, and things are improving, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Just the last couple of years, we're seeing just so many other filmmakers write from a true place and not. I think always when you start, any minority group, it becomes more like surface level stuff and more like macro identity stuff. And definitely in the last few years, we're starting to see just character first, which is, as a writer, my North Star. And yeah, writing Danny and Amy was never about like, what Asian American issue do we want to adopt into the story? It's just, what would Danny actually do? He would for sure go back to the Korean church as a security blanket, and yeah, Amy would for sure masturbate with a gun. And that's always fun as a writer.
I love it. Everybody, the brother that plays Paul, he's amazing too. The whole cast is so good. It comes from A24, by the way, who, it's a very edgy studio, very smart studio, and Netflix, obviously. I gotta ask you about the music, the way the music goes through this, and the titles, the way the shows start out. I told you backstage, I love the fact there's no recaps. It plays like a movie. You just keep watching it. But the song choices are amazing. Like at the end of episode 7, it was Somewhere Only We Know, which was so perfect for that. And if only I learned how to do the watch credits on Netflix and press that button fast enough. I just wanted to listen. It plays over the credits and everything. It's so perfect. But all through this, you have a lot of unique music choices that were perfect.
Thank you. As a creator, it's so rare that when I write, I put all the needle drops into even my outlines, which sometimes people tell you not to do because you're never going to get the song, And this is a rare occasion where we got every single song that we had put into the needle drops.
They're not seeing Smashing Pumpkins and all of these groups.
It's really thanks to A24 and Netflix for being so supportive. And there are a couple of tracks that were very hard to get, like Hoobastank that you just saw. I had to personally email Hoobastank, and dear Hoobastank. I wrote like a huge love letter just talking about how much I listened to the band in college, and they don't let you use the original master because they were all under horrible record deals, and so they all try to push the re-record, and the re-record just doesn't hold up the same. Everyone's older and whatnot. But they really responded to the show and allowed us to use it.
So cool, so cool. Well, this is in the limited series category, which I didn't know when I was watching it. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be pigeonholed here. Are we going to see more beef, maybe with them, maybe not? Maybe it's a title that you'll be able to carry on in different ways?
The original, when we pitched it around town, we pitched it as a limited anthology, and the idea was to have each season be a new beef. And so that's why the finale is such a, has so much closure, and it's a very self-contained narrative. That being said, if the fans demand it,
All right, here's to more beef then. I am getting more deals done today on this panel. All right, thanks guys for coming out here and joining us on Contender.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you want to support my channel, you can buy one of my graphic novels from the link below, or you can buy one of my t-shirts. And also remember to click on like and subscribe.